and welcome to Sunstar Knits. I am Eleanor, and this is my podcast episode for the month of April. So I have quite a few finished objects, 2 WIPs, and then some acquisitions and plans for you at the end. I'm going to start with the finished objects. I'll start with what was WIP's last podcast, and then introduce the ones that you have not seen yet. I believe there's only one that you haven't seen at all, but let's start. So my first finished object is the Sunday winter sweater. That's the back. The Sunday winter sweater by November Knits. I'm looking at my notes over here. So my computer's over here with all of my notes. I knit the size 2. My gauge was 15 stitches per 4 inches. I used a 6mm needle size. I started this on the 17th and I finished it on the 14th. So it took about a month, like a pretty good month. And then the yarn I used is Caron 1 Pound in black, and then Pound of Love in the color Sugar Cookie. Slight problem, Caron 1 Pound, even though they're both worsted weight, is slightly thicker. So the stripes of the Pound of Love all kind of dip in because this yarn's slightly thinner, but it doesn't bother me. It's not totally noticeable when it's on you. My sister actually came up for Easter and then tried this on apparently and proceeded to forget it, so that's why you're seeing it in person and not in a photo. But yeah, I really love this pattern. This is my second time making it. I don't know if I'll make one for myself as of yet, just because it's a simple raglan. Got a 2-stitch raglan decrease here, nothing totally interesting. I did make a mistake, and I made in the pattern you're supposed to do the raglan increases and then stop for the sleeves and then do more on the body, and even though it's my second time doing it, misread the pattern and kept doing it, all the raglan increases on both the body and the sleeves. So the sleeve stitch count is off, but I don't mind that. I just kind of did my own sleeve. I cast on 1 on the underarm, picked up 3 at the underarm, and then didn't do any of the slight tapering she has you do, and just did, I think I decreased from 60 something, I think it was 67 down to 30, so that it would stay on the wrist and be nice and tight. But yeah, I haven't actually seen it on my sister at all. But yes, so that was finished object number 1. Then I have finished object hold up. Hello again. It is much later. I forgot my parents were in the house and my dad was getting ready for work and making some noise, making breakfast in the kitchen and stuff. So it is quite a bit later. I think about an hour and a half later. I stopped and did all my math homework. And now that I'm done, I will get back to it. So my second finished object is my self-drafted pattern. Here it is. And I have been lied to. I really liked this pattern. I like how it fits. I like the drape. I like the feel. But there are some things I will tweak next time I do it. I think I just need to make it longer or not as steep of a V, because, sorry, that is where it's at. You can see the fabric puckers, and I tried to get that to go away with blocking, but it didn't, so I don't totally like how that feels. I really do like the cable. I really like the shoulder. I really like the construction. I just think I need to switch from increasing every row to increasing every other row. And I also think one change I do want to make for the shoulders is I think I want to do two cables here, like I have on the band. I'd like to do two cables instead of just one. And another thing is I was told that cotton stretches, and I don't block my gauge swatch, and I get I would had I just done that and figured this out. So the sleeves are actually too short because I blocked my sleeves. I make them slightly like shorter, and then I block them stretching them, and obviously they didn't stretch even though I blocked them stretching. So I did actually wear this for Easter, and I think it was the outfit. It was not my favorite thing to wear. It was perfectly fine, but because of the puckering, it just felt kind of weird, so I did end up opening it, just kind of letting it hang. But I think, I don't know, I ended up doing snaps, and I think I don't know why, but the snaps just pulled weirdly. So it is definitely a first draft. I will be making this again in a wool. Hopefully that and those kind of changes do what I want it to do. And so, yeah, but other than that, I love the sleeve. I love the sleeve construction. I love the shape. I will definitely be making it longer next time. I love the drape. Sewing on the snaps was not horrible. So this is my self-drafted pattern. Obviously, I don't have a name for it. I obviously did a custom size, so it'll probably, if I ever post this pattern, it'll be size like probably 3 or 4, just because that's about where I am in normal patterns. And then I used 4.5mm needles. I did gauge swatch. I liked the fabric on that. I started this on the 20th of March and I finished it on the 7th. I used about 5.5 balls of the KNC Essential yarn. And that's, so I have quite a bit left over. I did not need to go out and buy that much, but I'm glad I did. So that was finished object number 2. I will still maybe be doing I have all the notes and I have the whole pattern and stuff. Also, I think I want to add some German short rows to the back, right above before the hem, just because I want the back a little more length, because the front does droop down slightly, just because of the double layer fabric. But that was based off of that pattern I wanted was based off of 2 garments I'd seen in my last video or last podcast you would have seen. It was based off of one I saw of another creator on a Whip Wednesday video she did that's no longer like being sold by it's only being sold by resellers. And if you follow Engineering Knits, she just posted a bit of a poll asking which vintage pattern or vintage garment she should base a pattern off of, and the green sweater in that was the other one I was going for, which I think is quite a smaller gauge. I think that's more fingering, which is in line with vintage patterns, but I was also trying to base it off of that one, like the shape of it. So sort of not perfect, but definitely did vote for that green one over the yellow one, even though I do really like the yellow one. I just really want a pattern for the green sweater. So that was finished object number 2 of 4. And again, this is not all 1 month. Most of these were started in, or 2 of these were started in March. 1 of them was started, I think, all the way back in January. Yeah, January. And another one was started this month. Only 1 of these was started this month. So my next one is my Sophie Hood dupe. It's what I'm calling it. I used a drops, like, free hood pattern for the actual hood part of it. I'm gonna put this on actually because it's so warm and it's supposed to snow today. So I used my leftover yarn from Drops. I don't know if this is gonna affect the mic. I'll do it lower. From my porcelain sweater. So this is Drops Flora and Drops Brushed Alpaca in the colors Indigo and Cobalt. Held together. I was trying to use up the thing. This is very surprising that all of it was blue. I was thinking I was going to have to run out of the blue, but I actually have some left over. And I just was going to do an I-cord edge, but I decided not to. So this was, the hood was from a Drops Daisy pattern that I don't remember. I think it was like the winter hood or something. They have a couple of hood ones. I think I used their large size. I used 5.5 millimeter needles and just did garter stitch thing. And the reason I say it's my Sophie Hood dupe is because of the way I did the actual scarf portion of it. I just started out with 3 stitches and increased every 8 rows until I got halfway through my yarn, and then I started decreasing every 8 rows until I got to 3 stitches. So it's very warm, very comfortable, very stretchy, and I will be happy to use it on some nice, oh, that's the wrong side. Yeah, and then I just sewed the hood to the scarf with, I believe it's called a mattress stitch. I don't know, it's just a normal, like, I think running stitch is what I would call it. And very warm, love it, but it also means I have 3 balls of brushed alpaca in the white. I have no more of the blue, but I have a half a skein, I believe, of the Flora in blue, and I believe 3.5, maybe 4 skeins of the Flora in white left over. And I have plans for that. There's a couple of, I think I want to make like a mesh or lace patterned jumper sweater. I've seen a couple of them that I liked. I applied to test knit one and didn't get it. I've been applying to test knits a lot. I think I've applied to 4 test knits. I don't know. I applied to test knits I like and would want to buy the pattern of anyways. So there's 2 I may put to a vote in my family of which one I want to wait for. But yes, so those are kind of my plans for the leftover white Flora and brushed alpaca. Yes, so my last finished object is one you guys have not seen. It has started and finished in this month. I have shown it on my finish it, or my WIP Wednesdays, which I'm trying to be pretty constant with, but like I said in my last WIP Wednesday, if you watch them, Wednesdays have become my busiest day. I go to work at 12 and I don't leave until 6:15 most night, or yeah, every night of every Wednesday. So I can't really film it at work because I don't want you guys knowing where that I work. But also, I could film it beforehand, but generally I'm using that time to get some schoolwork done, to prepare for work. And I am in the habit of filming my Whip Wednesdays at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And so it might just transition to a Whip Thursday if I can't get a bit more of my game together on Wednesdays. But yes, but this finished object is the Bifurca vest by Teti Lutzak. This is the front, yes. So I did it in Lillian Roses. It's slightly, there we go, that's a better color representation. So the dark purple color is Lillian Roses. Is it Lillian Roses? Hold on. Ruby and Roses. I did it again. Ruby and Roses. Lilacs at Midnight on their base Rose DK. And I had 200 grams of that, and I used all of it. I actually did not have enough. I knew going into it I wasn't going to have enough of the purple for my size. So that is why the arm sleeves are in my secondary color. But yes, this pinky purple color is also Ruby and Roses in the base Rose DK. In the color Wisteria. The pattern, very interesting construction. Like, very interesting. I was expecting to have to work color work like all the way, like this, kind of like front and back. But no, it's worked in the round. So all of the color work, all the way up until this last set of dots here, is worked in the round, and then you put a bunch of stuff on hold and you work the sides back and forth flat with a lot of German short rows. So you get to here, and you do that, and you do like one side, and then you do the other side, and then you Kitchener it together. Or you can 3 needle bind off, but I chose to Kitchener. Actually, what I chose to do was, I realized doing Kitchener for another thing that it's pretty much just tubular bind off with just 2 pieces of fabric. So I just put the both sides onto one needle, alternating one from one side, and just tubular bind offed it. And so this is it here. Pretty clean, if I do say so myself. And then you pick up stitches on both sides of that for the armhole and the end. And then I just did a regular bind off, and you get kind of this rolled edge because you do 2 rounds of stockinette before you bind off, and I quite like it. I've also worn that. I wore that for Easter, on Easter Sunday, with a long sleeve white shirt under and some jeans, and it was the nice outfit. Quite like that. We'll definitely be wearing that a lot. It is going to be one of my favorite vests. And she does have a Bifurca, I think she's got like a pullover version, which I think, if you don't want the color work chart around the arms, it'll be a pretty easy modification, because you just kind of make the body longer in the round or by picking up stitches. It's kind of a weird pattern, so you can't really modify the body length all that easily. So that's probably why I would get the pullover pattern. But the arm length is pretty easy. You would have to figure out your own decrease rate and all that. But the thing is, she's got to be an insanely tight knitter, because this is DK weight yarn on 3mm needles. That's the recommended needle size. and I did not hit gauge. I think I was like 1 stitch off, but I don't have any needles smaller than 3 in my interchangeable needle set. So I just went with it. And I think that's part of the reason why I was getting pain, is because I started crocheting and I was getting a lot of pain in my elbow and like forearm. And I think that's because when I started crocheting again, and that gave me tendonitis. So I get tendonitis from pain from crochet, but I was working on, all of my projects were either big needle, so my 6 mils from the Sunday winter sweater, or 3 millimeters, or 2.75 millimeters. So there was no like in between middleman stockinette, so my hands were not happy with me. But we're doing better now. I haven't had pain in a while, and every time I go to crochet, because I'm trying to finish up some crochet whips, I wear my tendonitis band, and that is that. Okay, so that was my last finished object. Oh yes, if you want to see my floats. I always wish people showed their floats in color work. She has you catch your floats. There are some pretty long floats, but she has you catch them I caught them every 4 stitches. But yes, that is. And then there is I've not finished all the ends on the inside. I finished all the ones where they would stick out. But yes, she has you catch them. She recommends that you catch them every 3 to 4 stitches. I go every 4 just because that's my preference. And there is a way to, so this is my back. And there's a way that you can alter your beginning of round so there's no jog in your stitches, which I chose to do. And you actually work it like this. So this is how I was looking at it the whole time, because upside down. Because it was very fun knit. I might modify it slightly next time I make it, so it's a bit of a bigger needle size and a larger gauge, or just because it's a 21 stitch gauge on 3 millimeter needles. I don't like doing that. Whereas, I don't know, my whip is, or I guess we'll segue into whips. The one I just posted a whip Thursday about this. Let me finish my round. But it is the Shona top by Irene Lynn. I've been working on it as I've been talking to you. Why are we getting caught? And I am using Symphone yarn on the base Terra in the color Sunset. This is if this yarn's familiar to you, it is because it is the same yarn I am doing the Bernadette turtleneck in, which I have not finished. It's still sitting on my floor, but I bought this yarn in Switzerland, same as the other yarn I've made this top in, and I didn't think I was going to have enough to do the top I wanted to do, so I bought an extra 3 balls, and now I know I'm going to have way too much. So I'm taking a ball and doing this top with it. So this is the top. I started this. Let me pull it up. Gotta go to my active projects. I'm knitting the size 3. I wanted to knit the size 1, so I had no negative or no ease at all, but I would have had to use 5 millimeter needles to meet gauge on a fingering weight yarn, and I didn't like how open that fabric was, just because I didn't want to have to wear something like a camisole or something underneath it. and then have a negative ease top on top of it for the summer. So I decided to go with a 4.5 millimeter needle, and it's a slightly open gauge, but it's still mostly stuff, and if you stretch it, obviously it gets more open, but I like this. It's still just as drapey. It's a 24 stitch gauge, where I believe the recommended is 20 or 21. Let me check. Come on. What is going on? That's not letting me do it. Yes, so the gauge is just slightly smaller, I believe. I don't quite know how you talk about gauge. Come on, open up. So the gauge for the top is 21 stitches, and mine is 24. So my gauge is smaller. Yes, my gauge is smaller than hers. And I'm going to do the tank top version this time, so I just have to finish the body and then do all of the edging, and I will be done there. So this is whip number 1. And then because I've been going back to school, I have brought and done quite a bit of work on this hat. I'm actually pretty close to being to the 19 stitches, I think, or 19 inches I need to do for the length. And so I've been bringing this as my school knitting to just zoom by. So nothing really to go there. It's a Muscle Bear hat, same specs, fingering weight yarn. I believe it's like Nerdy Fiber yarn in the color Daylily. Got it from a local shop. I'm using 3.25 millimeter needles. I think my gauge is like 8 stitches per inch. So yes, that is beautiful, beautiful hat. For someone who doesn't wear hats, I've made a lot of hats. And then off to plans and acquisitions. So my one acquisition is this yarn. It is Wool of the Andes worsted in the color Jurassic. I can't tell if it's green or blue, so I'm just calling it definitely looks more green on camera, but I'm calling it a dark teal. And I'm going to make the Stick Season cardigan or Stick Season jacket by Rebecca Clow out of this yarn. A bit of yawn, apparently. So sorry. I need to get some lunch. Just double checking the name, but it's either cardigan or jacket. Stick Season jacket. By the Crayabea. I don't remember what size I picked or bought enough yarn for, but yes, that is that one thing. And then quick plans update. So next weekend, I believe it's next weekend. It's the first weekend of May. Yes, next weekend. I am going on a crafting retreat with my mom and sister again. I did this last year in October, or when I was first starting this channel, and I vlogged it. I will not be vlogging it this year. Just because I'm not going to be knitting. I'm going to be sewing and spinning, so I'm not going to bring any knitting projects, which is kind of part of the reason why I want to finish this top before I leave, which I don't think will happen. I at least want to finish the body and leave the crochet edging too later. But yes, so I bought fabric a while ago to make like a table runner type thing for a class that just kind of never happened, and I just bought more fabric yesterday to expand that and make it into a blanket or a quilt. And my mom quilt and a lot of the people at the retreat quilt. And I've been wanting to learn to sew and quilt for a while, and she's gonna be stuck with me for 4 days, so she'll have to teach me how to quilt. So I'm kind of forcing her into this. So I'm going to take my opportunity. But yes, my knitting time will be significantly limited during that. But that is one of my main plans, and I'm hoping to get at least the top portion of that blanket done. And then I'm also going to bring the drop spindle I got with my sister in Edinburgh and the fiber we got from the class we took as well, so that I can practice spinning if I want to have something other than sewing to do. So that is kind of my plans. I think my sewing time or my knitting time is significantly decreased because my only day where I don't have to leave the house at all is Saturdays. And so that's kind of my only uninterrupted time. Otherwise, Sunday's full booked day. I have church and then work. Mondays, I have work. I have swim lessons at like 3 in the afternoon till 6 for a couple hours. So that kind of, plus I'm doing schoolwork on top of that. Tuesdays, I have school at 3:30, which means I'm leaving here by like 2:30. But I get knitting time done in class unless it's particularly confusing. It's business calc, so not fun. And then Wednesdays, again, I go in at 2 and I get out at 6:15 for work. So it's just like a lot of, I'm really focusing on school because this is my last quarter before I graduate with my associates and transfer to a 4-year to get my bachelor's. So yes, I'm just trying to focus more on school and fit in my hobby where I can. And I'm actually taking time away from doing school right now to film this. So I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. Yeah, really, these have just turned into less of a YouTube channel and more of a digital diary that the public can see, because I have no expectations for this channel to do anything. I would love if I could make some money off of it, but I doubt that is going to happen. Plus, I don't know what the tax deal is, how to do taxes with all that, so kind of don't want to do that. I did my taxes for the first time this year, and boy, is that stressful. And I don't even have complicated taxes. So I pity people who do. But yes, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope you have a good time until I see you again. I don't really know how to close these out yet. But yeah, let me know what projects you've been working on lately and if you enjoyed them, especially summer ones. I'm always looking for summer patterns to figure out and do more of. So bye.